Scott Walker endorsed Ted Cruz on his show today, but Charlie Sykes' endorsement may be even more influential. The influential Wisconsin conservative joins me now. Charlie, before we get started on your endorsement and that explosive radio show yesterday with Donald Trump, I want to get your assessment on these charges against the campaign manager, Corey Lewandowski.
Yeah, it's not going to help Donald Trump, particularly because it plays into the narrative about the implicit endorsements of violence and his attitude towards women. So, you know, at a time when you have more and more stories that are calling attention to the fact that Donald Trump is massively unpopular with women, you have this arrest of the campaign manager for assaulting a woman.
Charlie, yesterday during the radio show, you came out immediately and asked and told Donald Trump Wisconsin had values of civility, decency,
right,
and they would go for a conservative, someone with a conservative principles.
Right.
What do you think that would be the case across the nation? Because what we're hearing from a lot of folks who support Donald Trump is that that's sort of a backward thinking these days. The GOP has lost in the sense that the party should be evolving to a more mixed, nuanced, if you will, sort of platform, and that Donald Trump best represents what the GOP should look like now.
Yeah, I can't speak to what's going on around the country, but in Wisconsin, we actually take conservative principles seriously. We have pretty well-honed BS meters. I mean, this is a state that has seen a lot of conservative reform, a lot of conservative victories. And in Wisconsin, I think one of the differences is not just our culture of civility, but the fact that we take these ideas seriously. We know what it takes to actually accomplish them. And Donald Trump, I just don't think of the term nuanced in terms of Donald Trump. I think he's a bad mix for Wisconsin.
Well, why is he a bad mix? I mean, is he not a conservative? Does he not share some of your conservative principles? No?
No. No, he's not a conservative. He's a narcissist, and he's a content-free narcissist, and he's an authoritarian who has not even taken the trouble to learn about the issues that he's talking about. And I think the fact that instead of articulating the kinds of conservative values, you know, for example, you know, that Paul Ryan and Scott Walker have talked about, he's essentially basically created a brand, which is Donald Trump, and it's a cult of personality. Because you can't come into a state like Wisconsin with his record of supporting tax increases, supporting universal health care, abortion on demand, all of those things, and say, hey, I am a genuine conservative, because he's not.
And yet in the Real Clear Politics poll, he's leading by 2 points over Ted Cruz right now. We'll see what happens with the Walker endorsement. More to the point, right, GOP voters across the country are resonating with the things that he wants. He's out against trade, saying it's not worked. He's out against the neocon sort of position that was always part of the Republicans. So what do you make of that, then? What do you make of the fact that he has been so successful, despite the fact that conservatives, dying-to-will conservatives, reject him?
Well, let me just talk about Wisconsin, because I don't want to get out of because I don't think it's going to resonate in Wisconsin. I don't think he's going to win in Wisconsin, and I think you're going to see that over the next week. That in fact, you know, in southeastern Wisconsin, which is a very voter-rich area, he's got an approval rating of about 25%, a disapproval rating of more than 60%. Because when voters begin to pay attention to what he actually represents, it doesn't resonate with voters. I also don't think he's been challenged the way that I think he ought to have. When you start to have the kind of binary choice that you're going to have in the Wisconsin primary, I think you're going to see where conservatives actually line up.
I will say this. You challenged him yesterday, and you were all the talk on Twitter yesterday, so congratulations on that. We'll have you back real soon.